I now recognize Nicaragua, the Deputy Representative and Permanent Representative of Nicaragua, speaking on behalf of Nicaragua and Brazil. You have the floor.
Yes. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. And once again, we want to thank you for having convened this 7th session of meetings addressing the work that we have to complete before us. We would like, Brazil and Nicaragua would also like to thank the 2 speakers. Thank you for your presentations. Co-Chair, I have the honor of speaking on behalf of Brazil and Nicaragua. Our delegations associate themselves with the statement made by the delegation of Fiji on behalf of the G77 and China. We wish to recall the agreements reached in the outcome document of Rio+20 on sustainable cities and human settlements and sustainable transport. These are 2 elements that are of particular importance: the need for a holistic focus for human development and human settlements, and the cross-cutting nature of urban transportation. This is the key for eradicating poverty, bring access to energy and to health and education and water and sanitation, as well as the promotion of sustainable consumption and production, whether it's in the form of one specific objective, a standalone, or a group of goals and indicators. We favor the priority inclusion of the post-2015 development agenda issues for human settlements and sustainable transportation in step with the document agreed upon at Rio+20. Mr. Co-Chair, in many developed countries and developing countries, we need to reach greater social justice and environmental justice as prerequisites for more sustainable cities. We should not simplify urban problems where there is intense urbanization moving at the same speed as economic inequalities and restrictions on landholding. A sustainable city is, first and foremost, a matter of social justice and environmental justice. These matters can only be addressed through structural changes that turn around these historic economic inequalities, social injustice, and spatial segregation. We need to promote and ensure the active participation of the people in socioeconomic and political decisions in our cities. Poverty and inequality are 2 important matters that must be given priority in any sustainable city and human settlement planning, and in particular regarding access to basic services, health, education, adequate foodstuffs, and infrastructure services as well. It is for this reason that it is necessary for us to mobilize resources and allocate resources sufficient to attain the agreements reached in the most relevant instruments of sustainable development. The legalization of landholding, the resolution of informal urban settlements and landholding therein, and also integrating people to the goods and services in the cities and transportation are objectives that require high financial costs for developing countries. They also require the planning of complex policies and political involvement on the local, national, and regional levels. Hence, we cannot look at the objectives and indicators for sustainable development goals merely through the lens of green economy. We also need to look at resource use, energy, environmental inventory, or the ecological footprint. The problems in the urban environments need to look at redistribution. This must be done in the majority of cities. Otherwise, a more comprehensive strategy for eradicating poverty will not come about in our efforts to bring about sustainable development. We fully support the type of urban development that will look at the sustainable development goals, and we recognize the importance of the data that have been broken down for policy development. Local governments must also be encouraged to increase budget transparency, accountability, and citizen participation in resource allocation. Local authorities cannot create and implement urban development policy and land use policies without this. Objectives for sustainable cities should not minimize the importance of the national authorities or overwhelm the capacities of the local authorities. In the area of sustainable transportation, we would like to reiterate that the outcome document from Rio Plus 20 was the basis of a balanced focus that bore in mind the need to broaden access as well as focusing on efficiency. Objectives in environmental and energy efficiency in the area of transportation, hence, should come with the proper measures for implementation and in particular technology transfer and financing. The different levels of regulations and implementations of regulations in developing countries should not be taken advantage of or exploited by the automotive industry in ways that bring further deterioration of roads and public throughways, nor should this industry create obstacles to better and more accessible transportation for all of us, including through the use of renewable energy and fuel. The automobile industry should be responsible and participate from a social focus in order to cooperate more and challenge the massive public transport challenges in the developing countries. To conclude, Mr. Co-Chairman, we also believe that the specific needs of the landlocked developing states should be given priority in the establishment of priorities of transportation. Greater access for these countries to the international marketplace is essential for an inclusive growth and more sustainable for each and every one of us. I thank you.
I thank the Deputy Permanent Representative of Nicaragua speaking on behalf of Nicaragua and Brazil.